tell you, I'm gonna show you.
You're ready for the sound that'll move your feet. Hip-hop and R&B, you know we can't be beat. It's the year to the street show with DJ Harmony. We deep and fresh.
To hear more about what's going on with Elon Musk, we will be having a full documentary on Elon Musk, so make sure that you stay tuned for that radio docs this week. So Vince McMahon dreamed of becoming a respectable businessman. He had been quiet and unmemorable as a youth, had seen financial failure as a young man, and was waived as a nepotism hire when he was coming up as an announcer at his father's pro wrestling company. So when he finished buying the company in 1983, he stopped seeking his approval of the shady businessman who ran his industry, instead sought it out from mainstream corporate America. McMahon rebranded his dad's World Wrestling Federation as a modern media conglomerate. He started referring to his product not as wrestling, but rather as a sports entertainment. He sought deregulation from state legislators, admitting in public documents that wrestling was as fake as the circus on the Harlem Globetrotters. By the turn of the millennium, the WWF was trading on the New York Stock Exchange and beloved by its corporate partners for all the eyeballs it could bring. In reality, the corporate sheen has always been an illusion. The WWF, now known as WWE, has been a wolf in sheep's clothing, pretending to have cleaned up its act, as the industry's long-standing culture of exploitation has never entirely gone away. As long as the media establishment considered McMahon to be just another mogul, it allowed him to govern his life how he saw fit. Assuming the industry was a fun product, few people in power even looked too closely at him. Last Thursday, a new lawsuit from a former employee alleged years of sexual assault and horrifying enough sex trafficking. McMahon denied the allegations, saying that the lawsuit was replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and was a vindictive distortion of the truth. Many wrestling fans and commenters assured he would wiggle out of this problem the way he has dozens of other times before. But within 24 hours, McMahon was out of the executive chairman of TKO Holdings, WWE's newly created parent company, and he and the firm have cut ties. And on Friday morning, the Wall Street Journal broke this news that previously reported federal probe was also investigating the sex trafficking allegations, and there is no clear path for him to regain any position at the company his father and grandfather built. The news is shaking the wrestling ecosystem. The industry has not known a world without McMahon, as its driving force since its mid-1980s. No one knows exactly how the chips will fall. But one thing is certain, McMahon's pursuit of respectability came to be the trigger of his undoing. Historically, it has been unwise to bet against Vince McMahon. While in power, he has been accused of covering up a murder, raping his first female referee, sexually assaulting a tanning salon employee, and allowing the widespread sexual abuse of underage boys in his company. Among other charges, that's not even getting onto the day-to-day exploitation of his wrestlers, who, despite exclusivity agreements, operate as independent contractors with no health insurance or union. Time after time, when opponents went after McMahon and WWE, he slipped loose from their grip. McMahon developed a reputation for legendary self-defense tactics. Victims were allegedly bullied into silence, prosecutors were allegedly undermined by witness tampering, and most importantly, McMahon could always muddy the waters with fact that be confused with the fact that or forget had been alleged. Despite temporary setbacks, McMahon's journey had been on an overall upward trajectory of wealth, success from the day he took over his father's company. When WWE was bought by Ari Emanuel's Endeavor Holdings last spring, McMahon was already embroiled in a fresh scandal, having been accused of doling out millions of dollars in hush money payments to employees to silence allegations of sexual misconduct. The federal probe, which has been investigating the payments, has been ongoing since 2022. And yet the sale went through anyway. It seemed as if nothing could stop McMahon's steamroller. Then last week, everything seemed to abruptly change. Just days after TKO announced a $5 million deal with Netflix for air WWE's flagship show Raw, the 78-year-old McMahon was slapped with a 67-page lawsuit filed by a former employee, Janelle Grant. It outlined in graphic detail allegations that Vince not only sexually harassed and raped her, not the first time McMahon has been faced such an allegation, but also used her body as bargaining chip in negotiations, farmed her out to at least one WWE wrestler, and widely distributed explicit videos of her. For a day, wrestling held its breath, then the hammer came down. Last Friday night, Vince McMahon did the unthinkable. He resigned from his role as WWE TKO head, and it wasn't the first time he'd resigned. He also did this in 2022 in July, when he alleged hush money was revealed, but back then, he retained financial control of the company through the stock holdings. McMahon was still the ultimate power of WWE, as had been the case since the 1950s. 50s. That changed when Vince McMahon clawed his way back from Resignation a year ago and steered the company toward a sale endeavor. It was in some ways the ultimate triumph. He had become the wealthier than he'd been, which is saying something, and had seemed anointed as a person of worthy of Ari Emanuel doing business with. He was a true mogul. His company, which he had done so much to shape and defend, would live on and thrive. His contract dictated that he would remain chairman of TKO until his death, no matter what. Perhaps the sale seemed like a path to stability and old age for McMahon. So that's going to be it for right now. We will be getting into the other segment where we'll be uncovering and dissecting these legal documents. I'm just going to read some of the most shocking of the 67 claims against McMahon. We also will be going into the documents for P. Diddy as well on our other documentary, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So what's your thoughts on this? I didn't know that he was accused of murder. I didn't know that he was doing all these things, but this is nothing compared to what you'll hear about the filed documents that Janelle Grant has filed against McMahon. So make sure that you come back to hear all the juicy details of this lawsuit. Thank you for tuning in to Radio Tube TV, Ear to Street Show. My name is DJ Harmony, and tell me your thoughts on this whole situation. Did you know some of these details about McMahon raping, being involved in a murder case allegedly? This is very shocking, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to get through this one. So what I know about it is there is some Odell Beckham stuff going on, but we'll get into that later. Make sure that you come back for part 2 of what's going on with Ed McMahon, Vince McMahon, and the investigation of FBI after these court documents were filed. My name is DJ Harmony. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.
Tune into the airways, yeah, stay. Radio Tube TV.